Let me say, first of all, that I've just got a few talking points that I'd like to bring up, a few bullet points, if you will. Number one, why the Democrats lost the election in a massive way. Now, if you look at the numbers, you see that Trump is ahead over 5 million votes. So why did the Democrats lose the election? Well, first on the list is lawfare. Everyone with two brain cells to rub together can tell you that those charges were bull. Every one of them. New York used a law to prosecute Trump for a crime that he had not been convicted of because, now let's just say they didn't prosecute him for the underlying crime that they convicted him of in absentia, so to speak. What I'm saying is, for the crime that they did convict him of, that they upgraded to felonies even though they were misdemeanors, those crimes require an underlying crime. You have to be trying to commit crime A before they can convict you for crime B, C, D, and E. They didn't have the A, so they just assumed he was guilty of A without any jurisprudence, without any prosecution, any proof, any evidence, anything. They just assumed he was guilty. Number two, they lied incessantly. They lied about Trump, they lied about us. Now think about it. They say that white males are the majority demographic in America. Used to be, maybe still are, I don't know. That's a whole voting block that you insulted into not voting for you. How smart is that? Don't sound too smart to me. Then, after the election, when the blacks voted for Trump, the Hispanics voted for Trump, everybody voted for Trump, except for the hardcore liberals. Everybody that voted for Trump, all of a sudden, these people you were trying to get to vote for you, they're now misogynists. Think they're going to vote for you next time? No, they're not. False accusations. You accuse us of being Nazis. That's what you said. But let's look at history. My grandmother always told me, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and then you cook it and it tastes like a duck, it's probably a duck, okay? So in the late 1920s and early 1930s, you had a German Socialist Workers' Party, okay? We called them Nazis for short. They didn't use that name for themselves. That's the victor's name for them, okay? That's what you accused us of being. But did we walk like them? Did we talk like them? Did we act like them? No, we did not. We didn't have any of the same policies. Nobody tried to be a dictator. That's a lie. Anybody that says different is just telling you a bare-faced lie. So what did the German Socialist Workers' Party, what did they do to get the people on their side? Well, the Reichstag was one. They started the Reichstag fire and then blamed it on the communists. That was their scapegoat. Everybody's got to hate communists because they burned down our parliament. Well, then you had riots in the streets, the brown shirts, beating people, terrorizing people. The people were too afraid to stand up to them. Is this beginning to sound familiar? Summer of Love. The left always accuses you of what they're doing. Always. The left tried to terrorize the American people into voting for them. All they pushed was fear, 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 fear. They had no policies. If they did, they didn't tell us what they were because they knew if we knew the truth, we wouldn't go vote for that crap. Then you've got all this woke crap trying to take our children and give them sex change operations, cut off their parts, give them chemicals that are going to castrate them, make them unable to have babies ever, never have no babies. These kids are children up to teenagers, and young teenagers, they don't know. They've not been in the world long enough to know. So you take a girl, for example, or a guy, but we're going to use a girl for the example. It works out, the argument works out the same way. She's a little confused because her teacher's telling her, well, honey, maybe the reason you don't feel good is because you're actually a boy. Maybe you're a boy on the inside. Maybe you're actually transgender. So this girl gets this crap going on in her head, and before long she believes it. So she goes to Mommy and Daddy and says, Mommy and Daddy, I think I'm actually a boy on the inside. So the leftist mommies and daddies say, well, that may be true, honey. Do you want to go to a doctor and get diagnosed? And they go to the doctor, and the doctor's a woke libtard too. So he says, yes, you're transgender. We'll give you puberty blockers since you're in your early teens, and that will keep you from becoming fully a girl. And that way, when you're ready to have the surgery, you can have your parts cut off. What they don't tell you is, number one, that stuff's permanent damage. Number two, in about 3 years, she is going to decide she likes boys after all. When the cloud of puberty starts to lift off of her head and off of her mind, and she wants to go back to being a girl, then she can't. But can she sue Mommy and Daddy for child abuse? For letting her have her immature way? No. Can she sue the doctor for a surgery that Mommy and Daddy and she all consented to? No. Can she sue the government? No. Does she have any recourse whatsoever to get her life back on track? No. This is evidenced by the fact of so many people who were transgender trying to come back. What's the word I'm looking for? Detransitioning. Trying to detransition. Girls who were girls, wanted to be boys, became boys, and then wanted to go back to being girls, and they can't. These kids' lives are ruined. They'll have no kids, you'll have no grandchildren, and the libtards will have no more children raised as libtards. So, what do you think? You mean to tell me that you voted for that crap? Well, fact is, Donald Trump is not Hitler. If you look at the things he's put out that he plans on doing in his presidency, every single one of them is common sense, gives you back your freedom, and you want to argue with that, you go right ahead. But nothing he said since he was elected, and he was elected, nothing he said is when I'm getting in, I'm going to do this or that to take away your rights. I'm going to put blacks back in chains. I'm going to take away a woman's right to choose. No, he didn't do that. Overturning Roe v. Wade did not take away your right to have an abortion. You don't have a right to have an abortion, okay? It's not in the Constitution. It's not a natural human right. Women don't go around killing their own children. If you do, you're a sicko. I'm sorry, but that's a fact. So what did Roe v. Wade being overturned, what did that do? It sent it back to the states where it should have been in the first place. Why? Because you have more control over your city, county, state legislatures than you do over the federal. You have more influence over your local legislatures than you do the federal legislature. You've got more power there. You want abortion in your state? Fight for it. You can get it. Not saying God won't judge you for it, because he probably will. But that's my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with me. I don't require that you agree with me. You're welcome to disagree with me as strongly as you want to. But you have that right, so do I. I have the right to freedom of speech as well in this country. You don't get to silence me because you disagree with me. That's not the way that works. It's not misinformation. It's not disinformation. If it's a fact, if it's truth, it's not misinformation and disinformation. The fact that you disagree with it does not change it from being a fact. So there you go. And as always, I'm going to say my little catchphrase, so y'all get ready, because I know y'all all upset over Trump winning. I don't want to trigger you, God forbid, but you still need to get a brain.